Welcome to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. This is your number one crypto podcast to hear directly from the movers and shakers, innovators, and disruptors in the cryptocurrency industry. Follow on Twitter for updates and to communicate directly at Woof Big Dawg. That's at Woof Big DAWG. Now, here is your host, the one and only Big Dawg Crypto.
Digital Bits is a protocol layer blockchain focused on supporting consumer digital assets. This is inclusive of assets such as loyalty and reward points, branded NFTs, fan tokens, and notably branded stablecoins. Find Digital Bits on Twitter at DigitalBitsORG. Digital Bits, making the future happen today.
And welcome to the newest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Maryam, the CMO from Verasity, is here on the podcast. Maryam, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am excellent. It's a cold and slightly rainy day out here in Vancouver, but no complaints. It's Friday.
I was going to say, and that's kind of the weather you get once you get to the West Coast type stuff. That's it's kind of like that season. So looking at VRA, I followed the project for a couple of years now. A lot of people like it. I've said this repeatedly on Twitter. It has one of the most active communities that I've seen. The reason why I wanted to have you on, and I'm honored that you agreed to come on, is part of the thing with the podcast is I'm really trying to make sure that new people in the space and other projects and just people that are in crypto kind of learn about success, right? How to do things that are learned and whatnot. And so knowing that the VRA has such an active community, what was it originally, I would say, that brought you to this position?
That's a great question. I think, to be really honest, it was Mark himself. I really enjoyed my conversations with him, but also, being an entrepreneur for so many years, he's been doing it since the 90s. So since before most crypto fans have been even born, he really saw an actual, a real world problem and thought, hey, blockchain can make this better. Whereas, you see a lot of projects, it's people who've made a lot of money in the crypto space or elsewhere and just think, this is cool tech that I want to build. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it will be applicable or really beneficial to the real world. And so with Verasity and, being a marketer myself, learning about, with 40% ad fraud, that's essentially me throwing 40% of my budget in the garbage,
Sure.
So being able to resolve that is a huge deal. And it was really exciting for me. And so I really believed in him and his vision and the application of the technology itself.
So when did you first, going back before that, when did you first discover crypto? Do you remember? I always like to ask my guests this. Do you remember what you were doing, right? Like where you were when you were like, crypto blockchain, what is it? Like, what were you, do you remember that?
So I had heard about crypto long before, and I always just kind of thought, it's interesting, but, I come from health technology and health data management specifically. And I was in New York looking for work and had an interview with Consensus, and I started learning more and more about it. And what I really found fascinating was just the sandbox that you had, because it's still so new. Like, crypto's been around for 10 years, but the adoption of it is still essentially non-existent when you compare it to other technologies, especially in the corporate or government space. And so as a marketer, to be able to go in and be one of the first to say, taking the techie terms out of it and moving beyond hard forks and hashes to actual conversations on, what are the solutions we're delivering? What are the problems we're solving with blockchain? What does it mean when we say it's immutable? Or what do we mean when we say every transaction's recorded. What's the benefit of that? And being able to talk about that was really exciting for me personally. And then from the health data management side of things, I just see so much opportunity there. So that's how I got my start. And I joined Consensus working on their protocol layer for Ethereum. From there, I moved on to Cardano, which was really exciting as well. And, Cardano, I think, they took a step back and said, we're going to do research first and then build based off research. And so I found that really interesting and fascinating. Again, coming from healthcare, where everything's research led, it just was an easy transition. And since then, it's really been a matter of how do we make blockchain more viable and more than just really cool tech.
So speaking of Cardano, because that was one of my questions for later on, as a blockchain, when you look at where the blockchains are now, how do you see it fitting in? And this, once again, this is, as you said, you've been there, you have more information just because you work there, but just as an observer, when you look through the tech, right, and you look at adoption, how do you see it fitting in? Let's say, down the road, do you see the blockchain there growing?
Yes, I think, ultimately it'll be a ecosystem across various platforms. With Ethereum right now, you have the most number of devs building on it and the most number of dApps, but then you're also seeing all of the challenges because they were the first, so you're seeing the high gas fees, you're seeing, we were all facing that, Cardano coming in later can say, all right, well, we've got a fix for that. And, just the concept of proof of stake versus proof of work, the environmental impact that it has, the scalability that it offers, I think there's a real opportunity there. But ultimately, I think there's room for Polkadot, Cardano, Ethereum, all of them can coexist. And it would be beneficial to all protocols, to be able to eventually work together even.
Sure.
That's
interesting you say that, because that's one thing I share that view 100%. And I think some people, they don't. They say, well, it should be one or the other. And I always say you're going to have cross-chain interoperability for the space to grow. I mean, the fact is everybody's got projects they like, and everybody has this. But if you want, everybody, we want mainstream adoption. You've got to have these protocols working together. And I think you're starting to see that now. So no, I agree with you on that. It's about how much adoption do we want, right? Versus which projects do we like. And I agree with you on that. I think you're absolutely right. So looking at them, check my questions here. So I wanted to ask you that. I did want to ask you this. Looking at the space and looking at and this isn't about one team in particular, but VRA, and I always say to research, you do a cash tag on a project and you see, the comments. VRA has a lot. I would put them, and like I said, having been a long time appreciator of the project, probably one. And a lot of VRA people are going to see this, right? And so if I say it's not the most, I don't know which one's the most. I do know that you have certain projects that just have a legion of fans, and I think VRA has done it better than just about anybody. So, when you look at that, for teams that don't have those communities, because let's be honest, a lot don't. Do you think, or those that are watching this, what would you advise them to do to perhaps have, a more active and excited community?
Sure. So I guess, what we're trying to do with the community is, one, consistently deliver relevant content. So educating them on what we're building out. Again, the fact that there is a real use case for proof of view. And now as we expand on Esports Fight Club, the majority of crypto users and the majority of esports fans are essentially the same demographic, but you don't really see a lot of crossover there. Or, you see a lot of like blockchain games being built, they're just being built from scratch. And so, and they're not really designed for that cross collaboration that esports are. So what we're trying to do is leverage, existing communities, existing audiences, bring them together and give them a real topic to discuss, a real project to discuss. So one, that's worked really well. The other part of things is we've tried to expand internationally as much as we can. We have 17 languages that we offer our community in, and we're trying to constantly expand that. We just launched our Vera Leaders program where we have ambassadors to help support us and grow. And so, we're really trying to bring out a collaborative community where we all really believe in the same project. And I think that would be the best advice I could give to any of the communities trying to build out there is make your message clear that people can buy into it. Make that vision clear.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that, because some projects don't, and you see where you get frustrated members. One of the other things too, and I don't think I asked you about this, and if you can't answer that, just let me know. And I don't know, I mean, the staking program, a lot of people like that. I think at some point it was going to kind of wind down. Has that been decided what's going to happen? Or, I mean, if I can't ask you that, I forgot to say, hey, could I ask you this? If it's off limits, let me know. But I'm generally curious, is that going to stay or not?
So we haven't made the decision to change the program as of yet. Okay. I think, we're obviously not going to go from like 25.5% to zero. Right. If it does change, but I'm being real frank now. Honestly, I just don't know yet. I'm going to fight to keep it as high as possible. I know Mark wants to do the same. So it'll really matter on the evolution of just Verasity and the crypto market in itself. It evolves so quickly. I can literally look at my phone and see my wallet change.
Drastically. I completely agree. And right now it goes to, is it, I think, end of first quarter 2022?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give my opinion here. Now, I'm not on Veracity's team. I'm not on the team, but I've advised several projects over the years, and you just said something which to me is, I actually said this to somebody the other day. We were talking about some goals for quarter 4 2022. I said, the problem is when you look at, as much as I love the space and as much promise as we have, and I know, you can't predict. I mean, you can do your best to plan for, but I can't tell you what's going to happen, guarantee. So if I was on the team, and I'm not, it's not like they listen to my advice. If you have till I'd probably make the decision in first quarter, because you don't know how the markets are. I mean, I know it's very successful. Y'all have responded well to what people like. So if I had to guess, I would think that's just my opinion, but that's just me guessing. But no, I can understand that. And I think that's one thing I'd say, if I could throw it quick. Some people don't realize, or maybe don't think that you've got to be 24/7. And I know a lot of us are, many are, but it's just hard to say something sometimes when it's, look, let's see what the market, let's see what is evolving. Look at NFTs. I had no idea 2 years ago, right? A year ago, that somebody would pay $60 million for a painting, but here we are.
Not even a painting, a digital version.
No, yeah. You
exactly.
Plan for it the best you can, but you don't have a crystal ball. So, okay. So, and then you're looking at crypto in general. You look at your friends, you look at your family. What do you think it's going to take for the day to come to where you talk to any of your friends and family, and they are very familiar with, and I'm talking about the mainstream adoption where they use it to pay something somewhere, where they use it to buy a cup of coffee. They're just, it's secondary, like a credit card, right? And they think of that too. What would you say, and it's kind of maybe a challenging question because it's really all encompassing, but what would you see a couple of factors that could facilitate that being a reality?
Like you said, I think there's a couple of factors. One, obviously the awareness part of it, and you're starting to see it more in mainstream media. I find it really interesting when I'm watching, The Daily Show or listening to Breakfast Club, and I hear about crypto and NFTs because, that's not their market. Yeah. It's always cool. And, whenever I talk to people at airports or restaurants and stuff, the second they hear crypto, they want to ask me about it. So yeah. I think the awareness part of it is coming. The next part is that trust factor. And I think that's really a big part of the onus comes on the blockchain community to deliver that. the mainstream view originally was that, oh, crypto is for like drug dealers and scammers, and, it's all sketchy. And now you see governments building on the blockchain and coming up with their digital currencies, and you see banks adopting it, and PayPal is now looking into it. So, that transition is being made. Well, we need to offer that, across the board. We have to realistically look at what are the scams and what are the, frauds that are coming up. Recently there was the NFT fraud with Banksy. Someone just pretended to be Banksy and sold for a ton. And that's where we're really trying to make our mark and set ourselves up to deliver that trust factor. For instance, our wallet is a cold storage wallet. So most of the information that's stored is offline. We want to make sure we deliver the most secure wallet available. We actually guarantee if anyone is hacked, if their wallet is hacked, we will replace all of their Verasity tokens lost to a hack. And we've never had to do it yet for that reason. We've expanded our proof of view patent to include NFTs, and we're building that solution out to solve for that very issue of you can't just say, you're whoever you want to be. And when you sell it, you can't just pretend it's authentic, because a lot of that information, people think, oh, it's on the blockchain, it's inherently safe, or that information is all inherently stored. It's not. I think it's on the community to stop sensationalizing just the profit earns that some people are seeing, a very small percentage of people are seeing. And, realistically looking at what we can deliver to the community as a whole, and then realistically looking at, hey, where are our weaknesses and what are we doing to solve them? Hacks and viruses are still a thing, but we all went through that, McAfee craze where we all had to have our antiviruses on our computers, and we all realistically saw them as an issue and the scams as an issue. So how do we do that on the blockchain, and how do we offer that legitimacy by accepting our flaws?
Mm-hmm. Well, so looking at that with Verasity for next year, what would be number one or number two goals personally that you want to see the company achieve, and that you're going to do your best, to help them achieve? I mean, what are the two things would you say?
One, I think understanding just the scale of what we're trying to do is a big one for me personally, and through the marketing team. We're across esports, ad tech, crypto, three very separate industries. And, we're also quite complex in each one. So, trying to get people to understand the whole ecosystem, or at least what our vision is to offer, these three industries together with one product, like how we plan to do that. That's really important, and making sure people really understand what we're trying to achieve. And then the second part of it is releasing the products effectively in each market. So, right away, when people talk about, I'm going to be advertising on YouTube, they start thinking about, oh, wait, what solutions can I look at to make sure I'm not wasting 40% of my budget? Or, if I'm an esports fan and I'm watching Valorant tournaments, well, why am I just watching it on, any channel when I could be watching it on EFC and earning crypto while I do it? And okay, I'm earning crypto. What does that mean for me? What are the opportunities with that earn? And so on. And so really trying to make sure each community understands what we're trying to do within that community, but across all the other ones as well, that entire ecosystem.
Yeah, that's interesting because, there's to me, there's cryptos, and then there's companies that are building, obviously VRA is one, and there are ones that are not. I'm not, naming others. I'm just saying it is like, I think we've all seen there's some that are, some that aren't. And I think the ones that are, and particularly with VRA, but other ones too, I don't think, and let's say people outside of crypto, I think it's really, they don't know what we do, and they don't see the scope of it. So if you're in like a boardroom somewhere or whatever, unless they know a bit about it, it's like, it's so much bigger than people realize, and it's going to disrupt their lives. But I think in a good way, it's going to bring transparency in a fantastic way. And, I talk to people all the time that are outside of crypto. They don't get the scope, right, of what's being built. That is amazing to me.
Exactly. Like most people just right now think crypto is purely Bitcoin, or it's a coin on my telephone. It's not real money, and that's it. Well, now there's actual platforms that you can build on. There's actual applications of it, and there's large scale applications of it. And on the reverse side of things, again, from the blockchain side of things, I see so many projects literally just trying to stuff blockchain where it's not needed.
Right. Yeah. They had the iced tea blockchain, and it was like iced tea play ads.
Exactly. Like I always think of that meme, the Oprah one. You get a blockchain, and you get a blockchain. And there are places where it's really valid technology, and it's going to make things better, and there are places where it's really not. So making sure the projects that deserve that validity or deserve that expansion get it, and we should do that as a community.
Yeah, I agree with that 110%. It's interesting. The other thing about VRA is that, like you said, most people, they know what Dogecoin is, right? Because they've heard about that. They know Bitcoin, or they've heard of it, right? And they're starting to look into it. But I had somebody, this was a month ago, a guy that was locally I was talking to, and he's like, I'm going and I'm getting some Doge and Bitcoin. And he goes, I've heard about VRA. And I gotta be honest, I was surprised, not because I've tweeted about it for 2 years, but here, look, we all know the projects that you find before everybody in the world knows are the ones that build community and people start talking about it. But this guy was really just totally out of crypto and knew it. I was like, that to me is great, because that's when it starts spreading to real world, everybody else other than just the crypto.
Exactly.
So getting it, as an example, people always ask, and this is going to be for any project, when you look at the future of people acquiring it, right? And people that want to get it, and they ask, what would you say as far, the future of perhaps more accessibility to it? How is that playing out?
Yeah, we're working hard to really grow the accessibility. Like you said, with a few tweets from Elon Musk, everyone now knows Doge. But they've also been around for, almost as long as Bitcoin has been. So, they've been there since the start. Obviously, but there's over 2,000 projects now, I think, in the crypto space. Realistically, we're not going to be
solid. Yeah.
Exactly. We're not going to be in the top 3 ever, realistically, but I'll give that to Ethereum and Cardano, and Polkadot. The ones that are really they're in every industry, so you can't ignore them.
That's on. Yeah,
exactly. I'll be honest with that, but I would love for the day where someone's listing off their top 5 or 7 cryptos that we fit in there somewhere. So one, we're trying to get more press coverage now that we're close to launching. Proof of View is coming out towards the end of Q4. So we've kind of been waiting, and building quietly. Now that we can actually release with an actual product, we're going to be doing a lot more press. We're looking to simplify our Vera wallet. You can now purchase with fiat directly on Vera wallet, which is really exciting for us. We're looking to expand in terms of the exchanges we're on. We've got a couple announcements coming up. With the summer season, it was kind of shut down, but just this year we launched, I believe, BitThumb. Just since I've joined in May, it was BitThumb, Bitmark, and like a couple other exchanges, and we've got some really big exchanges coming up as well. And again, you're seeing that change happen all over, again, in the crypto space, where before everyone was on centralized exchanges, you didn't necessarily have, unless you really loved a coin, you wouldn't necessarily get their wallet and stuff. Now, I started off with just crypto.com and Binance, and now I have like 8 wallets on my phone.
Right, yeah.
as you see opportunities for staking on different ones, and so on.
On KuCoin, I mean, I don't normally call out exchanges and stuff, but KuCoin's interesting because they were big, but I advised, like I said, different projects and talked to different exchanges, and KuCoin is just doing phenomenal. And so when it comes to and I'm not getting the rankings, ratings, but I mean, this is something that people love all over. So I think for a project to be on there, I think that really is. Like you want to see it get on it, right? That's important. And so you strive for that and you make it happen, if you can make it happen. And so y'all did. And so it's good when it happens. But yeah, there's definitely stuff there. I just think in general, it's like, how does somebody's mom buy? Because that's the other thing too. Let's be honest. Most people they're not in the space. And I actually had this morning, I had my brother ask me a question earlier and he was like, well, how would if I was getting something? I said, well, you got to get it through, let's say Coinbase and then send it, and he's like, isn't there a simpler way? I'm like, not really. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we're not quite there yet where it's like swiping it to get some coffee.
Exactly. And I would love for that day to happen for Vera Wallet specifically. But we've really built it out for security. First and foremost, we said.
You said you've never had an issue with it. And that's, that's phenomenal.
Exactly. And, as crypto becomes more lucrative, we're going to see more scams happening. And so that security factor is going to become more and more critical. E-banking went through a very rough patch as well. And, it's still sometimes a pain in the ass to get transfers done and banking done. For me to go from one US account to another US account sometimes takes 3 to 5 days because security checks.
It really is. It's like the horse and buggy days, but that's why the banking institutions are, not winning the fight against this. And I want to, one thing real quick, because I've had people, it was a project I was talking to, and it's doing real well. And somebody said, well, do you think it'll flip Bitcoin? I'm like, no. And like, well, it could be on the top. Like, look, let's be clear. And because I want to really just back, I mean, what you said is accurate. I don't want somebody to come back and say, oh, he said it would. No, that's right. It's very difficult, I think, for any I don't care what it is.
No one's going to beat Bitcoin.
But there are some people, and I don't mean this, but it's anyway, I don't know. It's just like, I love the community, but it's like you deal with all kind of people, all kind of types, and there's so much passion, but it's like, I got an argument. I was like, it's not an argument, but I'm like, it's not going to happen. Well, and then they came back with, well, what happened if they did this? I'm like, they could team, with anybody. It's just not, because Bitcoin is, the king of the coins. Now, then you're going to get people say, but anyway, I'm not going to get into that because that gets me down a rabbit hole of many other opinions.
The way I generally try and tell people, I separate crypto and blockchain. Bitcoin will always be the number one crypto because everybody knows it. It's been around the longest. It just has the awareness that, it's the Michael Jackson of blockchain or, of the space. So until maybe our generation dies off and someone bigger and better comes along, Bitcoin's going to be number one. But in terms of blockchain projects, no, it's already been surpassed by so many other projects out there. And the technology is outdated compared to, Cardano or Polkadot or Ethereum, and it will never be able to take that place back.
If I agree with you on that, and people, of course, the ones that were lucky, because a lot of people that bought Bitcoin in 2009, 2010, the minute it went up to a few cents, they sold it and or lost it. But if you bought Bitcoin right when it started and you have it now, that's a thriller.
Yeah, exactly. Sadly, I wasn't one of those people, but you could be that. I will be that for Verasity. I was one of them.
Cool. Look, it's been fun to watch. And look, I appreciate you taking the time. A couple of just personal questions before we go. Looking at on your bio, and I think it said you lived in, if I saw correctly, Dubai, London, Vancouver, and New York.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one? If right now you're on a plane, you got a super jet, you're going right there. Which one do you go to go out and have dinner? Where do you go?
Well, if I'm going for dinner, I would stay in Vancouver because I love sushi. Okay. But I also split my time between Mexico City right now and Vancouver. And I guess if I were to go anywhere, it would be Mexico City. Just the food and weather is incredible there.
Nice. And as far as food, I mean, when you're out, we see sushi. You said your favorite. What's your what's your second favorite food?
Oh, it has to be my mom's. I'm Persian originally, so. Mom's Persian cooking.
it's not. It's
So again, I'm stuck. Anytime I want to get fat, I come to Vancouver.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. Look, I haven't been to Canada in a while. I'm looking forward to coming back. It's been a trip. Well, look, I appreciate you taking the time. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. You're just reading your experience was fascinating, but after talking to you, I have more of appreciation. I mean, you're definitely the real deal, and it's been cool. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed our conversation. It's nice to speak candidly and comfortably about the space.
I appreciate it. Look, they couldn't be in better hands with you. So, VRA and Verasity in great shape. So, okay. So, and as far as, people that are watching, people want to find out, if they want to find Verasity on Twitter, where do they go?
So our Twitter handle is at Verasity Tech, and
Right.
our website is verasity.io, and that's with an S, not a C.
Okay.
So Verasity.
Okay.
I'm the one that posts on Verasity. I'm also on Twitter as Crypto Maryam with a K. So, if you ever want to reach out to me directly, that's probably the best space. But we're on Telegram, Medium, Discord, anywhere. If you look at Verasity with an S, you will find us.
Nice. Cool. Well, Maryam, I really appreciate you taking the time, and you have been on the latest episode of the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You've been listening to the Big Dawg Crypto Podcast. Follow on Twitter at WoofBigDawg. Woof, Big DAWG. And run faster than the competition. Woof, woof.